hello. Is my thing bumping? Is my thing? I don't see it. I don't know if I'm on, if people can hear me. Am I live? I think I'm live. How are you doing, everybody? It's I don't even know if I should go into this. It's just there's a few topics I'd like to talk about. I mean, I'll just say this, right? I mean, sometimes we do what I think is just a smooth show in the morning, right? And it's like no matter what happens, right? No matter how much of it is my fault, I get blamed for the whole thing. And it's insane, man. It's insane, man. Because I really try hard for everybody. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. So, let me say hello to everybody. What's going on, Sheila? Oh, if you need to fall asleep, go ahead, but I'm glad you're here. Hey, Shannon. Hey, Jolene. Let's see who else is here. Clutch is here. Right on, buddy. Yoswell Soaring. We got a tight little crew here right now. I mean, what's the best way to run something like this? I mean, it's so hard, right? There's so many variables, right? There's so many variables to consider when you have like a channel, right? And then people communicate, right? Sometimes there's a lot of miscommunication, right? Because we don't know like what people are thinking, right? And not only that, right? Not only are words a little different some places, or different generations will have different slang, right? There's the whole even when you get the words, you agree on words. Sometimes the same words will say two different things to two different people. Like if you say, "Hey, there's a lot of heroin over there," well, a lot of people will go over there, and a lot of people will stay away from it. It's two different messages, same words, right? Well, and here, this is why I'm saying it's hard to write rules, Sheila. So check this out, right? Well, I'm not even really speaking about Arwen. I'm just speaking about us here, right? Our little group, right? And so you got that, right? Even when you agree on words, people disagree, right? And then you got to picture this, right? Like not everyone is at the same emotional maturity, right? If you say, um, you know, there's a vampire out there. Some people picture a cartoony guy with fangs. Some people picture one of these Hollywood people, like it's more real life. Even the pictures in their head aren't the same, right? We're not even talking about the same thing, right? Or somebody might be spiritually more mature than another person, right? And you know you might say some spiritual terms, and then they might get it, to have two different pictures in their heads, right? And then so when you get these like misunderstandings, right? And then of course um I don't help because I give people millions and millions and millions of chances, right? Even when it's like sometimes suffocating to the rest of the group. I'll give people millions of chances, right? Because I know what it's like, right? Um to have an attitude, right? That I can't really see that I have. And then, because I used to joke a lot, when I was a little kid, that used to be my thing, humor, to try to protect myself, right? And I used to always want to tell jokes to people, but it got annoying. And so I didn't see this about myself. I just would get mad that people weren't responding right. Of course, I was a little kid, right? But I didn't see my own behavior, right? So I thought it was everyone else's problem, right? And so I know that there's people that we have, right, that don't see what they're doing, right? They don't see it. And you try to work with it, but then like, how do you tell a person, okay, well, everything you're saying right now is really what you're doing? Like, how do you say that to somebody? Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody's going to be personally insulting, then yes, yeah, that's fine. It's just crazy. Well, that's for people like Arwen, but I mean, what about people like that are in the group every day, that come here every day? Like, then how do we do it within each other, right? Because we're all supposed to be a family here. Hey, what's up, Rosa Vorkney? I forget what your first name is. I forget it. I knew it was something different than Earl though. And but welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. And so, hey Deb, how you doing? And glad you're here, Deb. Yeah, it's just it's crazy, man. Like, we're supposed to be a team. And yeah, I get it, man. Some people, they wear on your nerves, man. I get it. But like, I look at it like this, right? Like, we don't know what a person's going through. And a person might be scared and oversensitive, and maybe losing it. I don't know, right? And then, like, it's scary to be at that stage of your life, right? And so I'm just saying, that's all I'll say. And so, hey Dee Dee, how you doing? Hey Jackie, what's going on? It's good to see you. So Matthew 18, is this from KJV, Dee Dee, right here? It's all there. Matthew 18. Oh, here, I'll look it up. No worries. I'll look it up just to make sure. Luke 8. What is it? Luke, Matthew. I don't know if that's all of it there. Because you left some off on one of them. Is that everything? Oh, it's everything? Okay. So Matthew 18:21 and 22. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? As many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say 7 times, but 70 times 7. And that's true. I posted that. I posted that over on my community board. Some verses that will help us rise above like attacks and stuff like that. If someone's attacking you, you rise above it, right? And then Jesus talked about this a lot of times in a lot of different ways, right? Love your neighbor, love your enemy, turn the other cheek. Many, many times, right? Rise above it. Vengeance belongs to the Lord, right? We're supposed to, if this was all the whole, if this life was all we get, right? And, we only get one shot at this, and then, poof, it's over, right? Okay, well then maybe people would have a gripe and say, I want to just live my life my own way, right? But since we know that this is not the final spot, right? This is just a vapor, a poof. It's getting people to Jesus for salvation, so we can go to the other side, right? And we can suffer a little bit here. We can serve each other a little bit here, and I think that that's more than fair, right? I think it's more than fair that we serve each other a little bit, right? Ephesians 6:10. Oh, I like this right here, 10 through 20. Full armor of God. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. The sword of truth is my favorite, right? And the sword of truth, for those of you that don't know, you probably do, is the Bible, right? And if we keep the word in our heads, right, then these talks go quicker, because you'll know that what I'm saying is there, instead of having to post. I mean, which, of course, it's great to post scripture. In fact, I want to do that the whole show. But when two people read the Bible all the time and they start talking, man, it could be beautiful. It could be beautiful, because you can't be deceived, man, because you read it yourself. Yeah, yes, also that too. The armor is within us. We have a comforter, right? We have the spirit of truth. It's inside of us, right? We have his spirit inside of us. He left us with that, right? And if we had to, if it was God's will, we could do miracles, Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the key, right? Faith is everything, right? How much faith we have, right? How much trust we have in God, right? Like, I mean, when God says forgive somebody 70 times 7, do you think that means, oh, let people get away with walking all over you? No, it means you do what I say, right? God says, Stephen, you do what I say, and I will be faithful to you and protect you. Right? God's not going to let anything hurt me when I'm doing his work, his will, right? And so it's just a matter of trust and faith, right? And belief. And righteousness was imparted onto Abraham, because when he went to sacrifice Isaac, he believed God, right? He believed God, and God provided another sacrifice, right? And put it all on every day, right? What is it? The belt of salvation, the sword of truth. What is it? Well, I forget that. Maybe it's the helmet of salvation. I can't remember. But I love it. I love it all, And yeah, exactly, Clutch. Exactly. We should try to, like, imitate God if we can, right? Like, we should try to be like him. He didn't just go up to a sinner and cut him off and kick him out, right? He went up to that adulterous woman, right? They were all gonna throw stones at her, right? And and he told them, hey, look, if you're without sin, you throw the first rock. Go ahead. And they all left, right? And Jesus forgave her, right? And so that's what God is. That's who he is, right? And we've been getting this mainstream image of what God is, and it's not true, right? God is very forgiving and very patient and gives us many chances, right? People will tell you, oh, well, God flooded the earth, right? And wiped out everybody. But nobody mentions the 120 years he gave them to get on the boat. And no one did. Poor Noah was probably, the second best truther of all time was Noah, right? And he was trying to tell them the truth, right? And they didn't want to hear it, man. He was sharing videos with everybody, man. There's going to be a flood, man. and they didn't want to see it, you know. Oh, I'm not gonna go believe in any of that conspiracies. And so Noah got on that ark with his family and all those animals, and we came from that mess, right? We came from we came from those 8 people, right? Praise God, right? Praise God that they didn't get wiped out, and none of us would be here. None of us would be here. We want God to save us, right? And to get rid of evil, but we don't want him to get rid of us, right? God could get rid of evil in 1 day, 1 second, right? He just needs to wipe us out and it's over, right? All the evil will be gone. But we want him to get rid of all the evil and keep us, I did want to drop the link for Shannon. That's what I was planning to do, but I didn't ask her first. So if she's driving, then I definitely don't want her to do that. I don't know. It's up to her. If you're driving, don't do it. But and that'll be fine. I'll just drop it for Luke, I think, because I haven't had him on for a while. I'd like to have Clutch on soon at some point. And yeah, what's wrong with Clutch? Are you okay, Clutch? Oh yeah. Good. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, take the helmet of salvation, the sword. I thought it was the sword of truth, but okay, the sword of the spirit, which is the word of God. Yeah, I like that. The word. And so, yeah, I want to drop the link for what's her name. Oh, I don't know if she took off or not. Oh yeah, hello, his servant. I'm glad you've been coming. I'm so glad that okay. So his servant, your name is Winter, right? That's great. Shepherd's voice says, loins girt about with truth, breastplate of righteousness, feet shod with preparation of gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, helmet of salvation, sword is the word of God. So perfect. So perfect. Well, that's a nice name, Winter. I think that's a good name. I always like it when people get named after seasons and months and things like that. I always think that's cool. I knew this one girl. Her name was Sunshine. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna draw. Hey, Luke, do you want to come up and talk, man? I was gonna ask Shannon to come up and join me, but she's probably driving. Let me go ahead and copy this. I just, I want to leave everything open, right? Oh, you taking off, Jackie? All right, you too. Hey, you know what? I thank you for just even stopping by, I appreciate that a lot. Like even if someone stops by for, 5 minutes, that means a lot to me. And sometimes I do that for other people, like they'll have a stream and I'll go for five or so minutes. Oh, of course. Of course everybody gets a personal email. I mean, it's a lot of work, but uh some people get far more than that, but um I do what I can. It's all because of God, right? My life is just I'm barely making it, and God is all the joy. God is like all the joy in my life. Everything. All right, hey, Luke, I'm gonna drop the link for you. Um, pick it up if you can. Man, I should have told Shannon that I wanted her to come on today. But Luke's a good afternoon person. I'm gonna have oh yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna have what's it called? Jake or Stephanie on. I forget what is today, Tuesday. I think I'm gonna have Jake on Thursday and Friday, and then I'm gonna see if Stephanie can come on tomorrow. I think that would be cool tomorrow afternoon. And I like the kind of morning arrangement that we got going on now. I don't mind it, the way it is, especially if Tom can make it. I'm trying to get it better, guys, like to where I can get the shows to go kind of up one level as far as what we talk about, and maybe have even a little debate and stuff like that. Get some people that just don't fully agree on everything. And I think that's important too, And hey, look, things are going to get a little contentious because, our relationship with God is the most, the most personal thing that we got, right? And we're supposed to get contentious when we talk about our love for God and what we know about Him. And so it's good to also have debate and discussion too. Test all things, right? And let me add Luke to the stream. Hey, Luke, how you doing? Good afternoon, man.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming on with me today, man. Man, like this morning show was smooth, right? Just a regular show,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you end up with a few arguments or whatever, and next thing you know, it's 2 hours of work, chasing people down.
yeah. It is some time and energy, and that's kind of the only bad thing about the YouTube drama. It is nice to be able to work things out, but it does set things back for topics we could be talking about. And it's always nice to try not to get into the drama too much, but you also want to be there for people and try to understand where both people are coming from and, work things out. You don't want to just leave the person hanging either. So it gets tough sometimes. But there is a point where, if it's too much, then you kind of have to like let it go because, you got to keep the channel running and all that. So some people, they're not gonna, change, but you got to at least give them chances and all that. And then maybe as time goes by, try them again and hope, things work out.
And see, that's what I think. That's what I think is gonna happen, right? Because like I've been like super nice, almost to the point of like enabling people, right? And I'm just gonna I think because I'm nice to everybody, I really am. I try hard, right? And you know, I sometimes I get blamed for what other people do just because I'm running the channel, But
Yeah, and
what
another
I'll
thing
do, and I
too.
don't care about that part, right? But what I need to do is I need to be more strict as far as like, okay, this is disruptive. You can come back, right? If we work it out, like we got to talk about it or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to keep in mind, you're not going to be able to please everybody.
I know it, man. That's the hardest part, man. That's the hardest part, man. Is sometimes you'll get like five different people saying five different things, and I'm like, okay, I know, but I can't do that, or I know, you know.
Yeah, it was
And
just
so
I don't know the verse, but I think you could probably know it if I try to tell you the one where they were talking about Jesus' disciples and John's disciples and how they eat with them and how what was that verse exactly how it went? But like I kind of got the whole message of the verse where it's like, oh, if I eat and drink with them, you call me drunkards, but if I don't, then what was that verse again? I think you probably know what it is.
eater. So now I'm thinking two things. One where it was Jesus eating with sinners and publicans, or was it with Paul saying, "Be all things to all people"?
I do like that one, but I think it was the first one that that what I was trying to say is like if you eat and drink with them, they call you like a drunkard, but if you don't, then they call you something else. So you can't win either way.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't remember. If anybody knows, please post that.
But
And you know what's weird, right? Is there was a verse I needed, right, to prove something to somebody, and I must have read the book of John probably 50 times, right? And the verse I needed was in there, like just clear as day, and I never was looking for it, you know. It's just weird, man, how sometimes like you know, it just goes to show you that no matter how much you think you know, there's always something out there that you don't know, you know, right in that moment. And so um I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
I don't
you're
know what
right.
I'm trying to say.
No, I kind
Be
of get what you're
humble, you
saying. I
know.
mean, you could read Corinthians or John, a bunch of times, and it's almost like reading it for the first time again sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was like that when I started to do hey Teresa, welcome. It was like that when I started out reading the King James, right? Because I was reading other versions because it made more sense to me. And I was told, no, just read the King James only. And then it was hard for me at first because I'd listen to it and it'd be like I didn't listen to anything at all, right? Or, listen and read at the same time. Like, oh man, I don't even know what they said, man, you know?
Yeah, that's
And
kind of
then it
why I
got
read
easier.
both. I mean, I mostly listen to it, especially dramatized, because then you know when Jesus is talking, you know who's saying what, so it makes it a little bit easier. I like ESV and I like King James. I try to always go back to King James, but ESV is easier for me to understand. But I think as long as like you have King James as like the main reference, I don't think it's like too bad to like switch to a one that you understand easier. It's just, you got to be careful with that for sure, though. That's just kind of how I do it. I don't want to tell anyone that
No,
only
I do
read
it the
King
same
James.
way, actually. I don't use ESV. I use the NASB sometimes when I go to like try to figure a verse out, like if I need it in regular English, But I do like the ESV, like it's hard to say I like it, right? Because I like the King James now. Now the King James is the easiest book to read now. But I do like the other versions if you're only going to use them as like a reference point. So
Yeah,
I agree with
exactly.
that.
And then going back to what you were saying with Paul, how he was saying, "Be all things to all people." That's kind of a strong verse 2. But I think he had another one where it's like if we were around the Gentiles, be like the Gentiles. You're around the Jews, be like the Jews. Kind of like I think what he means is like understanding like where they're coming from and kind of giving them a little bit of like the milk before the meat and sort of like really wake them up without like telling them too much where they can't really process. So, and they hang out with, you know what I mean? Instead of telling the Gentiles to be this certain way or God doesn't accept I mean, he actually hangs out with the Gentiles and, tries to understand where they're coming from in a way and like wakes them up. You know what I'm saying? In like a different way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and like, but what would help, like, and I always tell people like, because like this group's not just pretty good at like they read the Bible, right? But like sometimes it's hard when you have a group and like not a lot of people are reading the Bible. It's very tough, like you're like, oh man, if everybody could read the Bible, then we would be in way better shape, like I don't know, like because then we'd know, right? We would know what people are, I don't know how to say it, but the conversation would go way smoother if everybody was like, you know, up on the word.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not like, because what I'm trying to say, it's not even like holding back truth. It's just there's certain things that people just aren't ready for. I think that's kind of what Paul meant when he was saying, be like the Gentiles when you're around the Gentiles and try to give them the truth to where they can understand it. And then hopefully
Oh,
they
I see what you're
expand
saying. I see what
you
you're
know what I
saying.
mean?
I think it meant like, well, to me it means like if you're hanging out with say with skateboarders, right? Try to like be with them, right? Understand what they are, who they are, right? Like be one of them, right? And like so like I mean not skateboarders, that's probably a bad one, but like you hang out with certain people that they're like a certain kind of group, you're just, kind of like be one of them, right? To witness. Don't be like in opposition of them or judgmental, right? Just kind of try to fit in, like
Yeah,
kind of like
exactly. To a
yeah.
point, of course. Like if they're doing wicked stuff, you don't want to do wicked stuff with
Right,
them.
right,
So
right, right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
if you just don't accept them at all, then how are they gonna be able to, find God? I mean, I'm sure there's other ways, but you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna be able to wake up to Jesus being our Lord and Savior if you don't accept anything they do or hang around them. It's gonna be very hard to, wake them up. you know?
Well, yeah, especially if you're like, like you insult them or like make fun of what they know, or if they're wrong or something like that, or you're real judgmental. Like it's good to say, okay, well, what do you believe? Let me see how you kind of got there, and then like once you kind of grasp it, you can say, oh, okay, I understand why you would think that, but this is the way I think it is, and you plant that seed, right? Because you're not going to move somebody a big distance, because there's like a lot of, I mean, they might, right, like drop everything and move forward, but it's rare, sometimes like it matters, like, if they learned it from their dad or learned it from somebody they love, or or if they're pretty sure about what they know, like it's hard to move somebody on a subject this personal, right? And so if you have some good understanding of what they believe, right, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of get that, but this is the way I think it is, right? Then they're more likely to accept that,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree with that. They kind of open
It's
up to like what you believe if you sort of open up to what they believe instead of just saying, "Oh, they're wrong."
right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because if you start out with that, they'll leave, man. you know,
Yeah.
I mean, just that's no good, man. But unless they're just like way wrong, I mean, like way wrong, then like, yeah, then you got to kind of tell them right away.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
hey, so
exactly.
so are you like one of these like guys that like studies the end times, like end times junkie? Because that's what I am, man. I love the end times, man.
Not too much. I mean, a little bit. I'm starting to understand it, but like, I haven't really read Revelations in a while. I don't quite, understand it too much. But looking around, what's going on now, I'm sort of starting to understand it a little bit. But no, that's one I have to go over again, just because that is a confusing one for me.
Well, I'll be honest, right here is I still don't really get Revelation. I mean, I get some of it and I get some of the symbolism, right? Because it kind of makes you go back into the Bible to find like other places where they use those symbols, but I don't really understand it as well as I think I should, right? But like I'm more or less kind of like follow like like things like Mark of the Beast or things like the Man of Sin, right? Things that are just like obvious, right? Like I'm like, oh man, could this be the guy, or could this be the opening or whatever, And I don't know what it is, but there's something about that, right? That I just want to study it constantly, like these big moves, and I don't know if like God gives us all the spirit to want to do that, or is it just like certain people are just into that? I don't know.
Well, that's a good question, and maybe if it really is, on times right now, then I'm sure God is going to give some of us that spirit to understand it, or at least want to look into it more.
And see, like I don't want people to be like afraid of the end, or like think it's like doom and gloom, or think it's like um you know uh like there's going to be some kind of end of the world thing, right? It's not the end of anything, man. We're going to keep going, right? But it's going to be without all the pain and sin, and it's going to be the world that we want, the world that God's going to put it together for us, right? Because like even if like say we defeat the elites, man, and we get rid of them all, right? and we get everything all cleaned up, and we just got all the loving people, right? We put the elites all on an island somewhere so they can enjoy their life, right? We don't kill them, right? Everything's smooth, right? And how long do you think it'll take before it gets all greedy and nasty again, you know?
Not very long, man.
You know? And so I'm thinking, like, well, everyone should be rooting for the end, you know? Like, I mean, I
Oh
guess
yeah,
you could
man.
say the thing you think about, right, is like, oh, I want there to be enough time for everyone to kind of get saved, you know? But I think God knows what's going to be there at the end, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's already been written, so I think I agree, you know. So whatever decisions are being made and all that, it's kind of goes with the whole free will thing. I think we do have free will, but at the same time, God knows everything that's going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, Mungo Man, how's everything going? I remember you came in here with some news, and I forgot what it was already, but I was thinking about you. Something was going on, and I was praying for you, and I can't remember what it is. I am so sorry. But I remember when Mungo Man came in? And
Who?
Mungo Man, he came in, something was going on. And I was praying for him. I can't remember what that was. But yeah, I'm glad to see you here, and I'm glad that you're at least showing up, and you know, let us know how you're doing so we can pray for you more. Give you all the support that you need, you know. And oh, he said, yeah, it was always his mom passed. Oh, yeah, it's so heartbreaking. Yes, you're in my prayers for sure, because I was thinking about you for sure. And so, yeah, that could be very hard. Well, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. And, you know, I mean, so much is going on, right? And so many people are just being bad to each other, right? And like, not only are people being bad to each other, but people aren't really seeing their part in it. You know what I mean, Luke?
What do you mean by not seeing like their part, like seeing from the other person's point of view, like everyone's kind of divided, or?
Right, like okay, so like if I okay, let's say you know Johnny cheats on his wife, right? And then, you know, Johnny's eating dinner with his wife like a year later, right? And that lady goes crazy and, you know, shoots them both up, you know, but they don't die, right? Well, Johnny can say, "Man, that girl went crazy and shot us up," right? But in reality, his part is that he messed with that girl, you know, like
Yeah, yeah, like two
you know,
sides
you
of
could say,
that
"Oh, she
sword.
shot us for no reason," you know, like sometimes people just forget their part in it, you know, like, well, what did you do to them, you know,
Yeah,
or
exactly. Like they're kind of
you know,
quick to put the victim first, you know.
yeah, man, and it's like it's weird because when you try to tell them, right, hey, look, you know, you might be a part of what's going on. Like it might be because of you, you know, like the your problems might be because of you. People get so mad about that. And all I want, this is what I want. I want anybody that I'm in that situation with to know I would never tell somebody something that if I didn't care about them. Because if I didn't care, I'd just let them keep living their life, right? And so to tell somebody that stuff, it means that I care about them and want to see them get better, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of
And
you got to get the hard truth to be a real friend. Like, say, you know, if I had like something on my face and you know you didn't tell me, you know, I would appreciate it more if you did tell me, even though that might not be something I want to hear. It might be embarrassing. Telling someone the hard truth is better than just you know letting them you know sink.
yeah, exactly. And it's a hard scenario because I want people to do that to me, right? Like if and that's why I put like up on my community board. I'm like, if I'm doing something wrong, or if I'm not nice, or I'm not running things right, get on here and come on the panel and talk to me about it. You know, because I'm always open to the fact that I could be better. You know, I could be better anyway, even if I have the perfect day. You know, Steven's version of a perfect day. well, I could still be better tomorrow, you know? Like, ain't nobody that good that they don't need to improve, you know?
Right, exactly.
And so I
None of
think
us are
like
perfect.
I think like more of that, like shows like that would be awesome, you know, where like people are like working on stuff and, you know, I get to grow, they get to grow or whatever. I think those would be good shows too.
No, yeah, man, that would be great.
And then I think like I want to do some shows where like people are like telling their testimony, like miracles or whatever that happened in their lives that they don't even know how they made it out, you know, how they made it out of that, you know, situation. And, you know, I want to hear stuff like that.
Oh
Or,
yeah, those are good. I mean, that one time you had Mark on, it was pretty kind of a testimony, and that was a powerful story. You know, more stories like
yeah,
that would be great.
yeah, I think Shannon came on. She did a nice job at that. I had Shulamite on one time. I had, who was just recently, oh, I had Stephanie on, right? But she didn't do her testimony yet. But I'd like to have Jake and Stephanie do one, you know. If you, you know, you're always welcome, right? And everybody's welcome to do one. But like, I think it's good to like have people up here and you know, telling their stories, you know. Oh yeah, yeah. Shepherd's Voice came up and did one. She did a nice job. And I think like if we share our testimonies and if we speak highly of God and give God like the correct like image, right? Then I think that's like the perfect um, place for, you know, new sheep to come and like talk about God and leave here kind of pumped up, you know, and loving on each other.
That would be great, man. I think it would bring us closer too because we're communicating with each other and actually knowing each other instead of just being strangers and just trying to give each other our points. And we're actually, you know, communicating.
Yeah. And I think if we all kind of knew each other's personalities, we would know like, you know, how to treat each other. Like, oh, okay, that person's probably not thinking that, you know, they're thinking something else. And then, you you'll know their like personality, right? So you'll sometimes when I type to people, they're not reading the type the way I talk. You know, they're reading it like all like, you know, like as if I'm mad or something or have attitude. But you know what I mean? And you're like, well, if you knew how I was, you wouldn't think I'm was writing that way, you know? You would know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm
it
just
makes sense.
trying to be nice.
Yeah, because then we understand each other a little more and it avoids arguments because it's like, oh, okay, this person always like, you know, sometimes when someone types K, you know, I think, oh man, like they must be mad or something like that. But then when you know that's what that person does, I'm just using that as an example, then you know, like, okay, they're not mad, that's just how they type. Little things like that you would understand more too, because you know, we're talking to each other all the time and we kind of know like our backstories a little bit, and I think that would be great, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would love like as soon as it's all this is over, man, and we're on the other side, man. I'd love hanging out. You know, I can't wait to meet all you guys. You know, I think
Oh
to me
man,
that would be like the most fun part of it. You know, is seeing everybody.
yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. That's why part of me, you know, I don't want to see like violence and all that, but part of me wants all this to just be done, let it pass, just so we can all go home, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's just you know, I'm ready, man. I definitely am. And not that like you know that I'm unhappy or anything like that because I mean I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I mean some things are uncomfortable, right? Just because like the people are kind of zombies, right? Which is a little, to be honest, a little scary, right? That they don't know what's going on, and it's obvious to me, you know. And so you know that there's something wrong with them, or there's scales over their eyes, or something. Because for people not to notice that there's anything wrong, right, is surprising to me, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild. I mean, it does bring me little hope that people who like do believe in NASA and some of the science and like space being real and all that, like there's a lot of them who still believe in God, and like they might be misinformed in some things and try to use their worldly views to make the Bible like make sense, and that's not good. But with that much lies and deceptions and people to still know that God's there really shows how powerful the truth is.
Oh, you're right about that. You're right about that, because like if you believe that it's been 2,000 years, right, since Jesus was here, right, then that's a long time for a story to be around, right? Like BS stories don't last that long, you know.
No, not at all. And
You know
I
what I
heard there's
mean?
actually a lot of historical documents proving Jesus more than like Aristotle or like Caesar. Like there's a lot more documents proving Jesus' existence. So like even
Yeah,
outside the Bible, I mean Jesus is historically probably like the most like written person.
yeah, by far, you know, by far.
So
I
like
mean, I
people who
mean,
want to believe like Caesar existed or Aristotle existed, but don't believe Jesus existed, it kind of doesn't make sense because there's a lot more proof that he existed than them. So if like you don't
well,
want to believe in him, then you can't believe in all of them either.
what's crazy is, right, like, so, God comes in the flesh, right, and does miracles in front of many, many witnesses, right? Like healing people, walking on water, ascending to heaven in front of many people, coming back from the dead, right? These are things that are not only in the Bible but written about in history, right? From like non-religious, sources, right? Like it's I mean, just Jesus alone is enough confirmation. But before, like, okay, so before flat Earth, I just thought, oh, okay, well, those are some good, it's good stories. Maybe a solid, legend or something. Like maybe it did happen. Like it gave me some hope. But now that I know about, like, flat Earth, and then how all the lies are all set up against Jesus, and all the, like the moon missions were Apollo missions, named after the Antichrist, right? It's like, okay, well, evil wouldn't be lined up this way if Jesus wasn't the Lord. And not only that, but like things he predicted, like, you will be hated and there will be a lot of division even in your own family, right? Like how could he have predicted that it would be like this 2,000 years later, it's
Right.
it's imp-
No man, no regular man would predict that.
No way, man. You'd have to be in serious denial, right? Like now that I know, it's obvious, right? But I guess there was a point where I wasn't sure, right? But now that I know, I'm like, why didn't I just know, like, just by that alone, right? That, like, these little verses in the Bible that come true in our daily lives, right? I should have read the Bible more, man. Like, what was I doing with my time, man?
Right. It seems like, at least in my case, I try to look into everything else except the Bible. I'm like, never really like missed it, but I was like, and maybe it's true, but let me check this New Age stuff out first. Let me check out like this guy first, and let me check out this over here. And then it's like
Yeah.
I kept trying to like convince myself to go other ways. And then once I started, reading the Bible and really get into it, everything else was like, oh, none of this other stuff makes sense.
Right. I'm the same way, man. I think we're all just naturally curious to go our own way, right? And then we end up, well, thank God we ended up back where we did, because just as easily could have got caught up out there, And so I'll say this, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Short notice. And I always enjoy talking to you, man. And
Yeah, it's
guess
always
what time it is, man? Guess what time it is?
It's time to hit the old dusty trail.
Praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace, and all glory to God because he deserves it. And pray for the children, please. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m. Thank you so much.
California time.
Woo! California time.